Have you ever felt like anxiety is a storm that never ends? Like you're standing in the middle of a battlefield, exhausted, overwhelmed, and unsure if you'll ever find peace. Maybe you wake up with a tightness in your chest, or your mind races with worries you can't control. You try to push it away, but it keeps coming back louder, heavier, more relentless. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Anxiety can feel soul-crushing, like a weight pressing down on your very being, making it hard to breathe, to think, to live. But what if I told you that one of history's most misunderstood philosophers, Friedrich Nietzsche, not only understood this struggle, but also offered powerful tools to help us face it? Nietzsche, the man who famously declared, "God is dead," and challenged the very foundations of Western thought, was no stranger to suffering. He battled chronic illness, isolation, and deep existential pain throughout his life. Yet, from this suffering, he forged a philosophy that doesn't just accept pain, it transforms it. Today, we're going to explore how Nietzsche's radical ideas can help you ease your own soul-crushing battle with anxiety. We'll look at why anxiety feels so overwhelming, how Nietzsche's philosophy reframes suffering, and, most importantly, 4 practical strategies inspired by his work that you can start using today. We'll talk about amor fati, the love of fate, and how accepting your anxiety can actually set you free. We'll dive into the eternal return, a thought experiment that can change how you see every anxious moment. We'll explore what it means to become who you are, and how your anxiety might be the very thing that helps you grow. And finally, we'll learn how to transmute suffering into creative power, just as Nietzsche did. If you're tired of fighting your anxiety and ready to find meaning even in your darkest moments, this video is for you. By the end, you'll have a new perspective, practical tools, and, I hope, a sense of hope that you can carry with you, no matter how heavy the storm feels right now. Let's begin this journey together. To understand how he can help us with anxiety, we first need to see how he viewed suffering, discomfort, and the human condition. Nietzsche didn't see suffering as something to be avoided at all costs. In fact, he believed that suffering, yes, even anxiety, was essential to becoming our truest selves. Let's start with amor fati, which means love of fate. He wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it." Imagine, for a moment, loving your anxiety. Not just tolerating it, not just wishing it away, but embracing it as a necessary part of your journey. This doesn't mean you have to enjoy the pain, but it does mean accepting that anxiety is part of your story, a chapter that shapes who you are. Think of it like hiking up a mountain. The climb is hard, your muscles ache, and you might even want to turn back. But every step, every struggle, is part of the experience. Without the climb, there's no summit. Nietzsche believed that by loving our fate, including our anxiety, we can find meaning in the struggle itself. Next, let's talk about the eternal return. He asked us to imagine living our lives over and over, exactly the same for all eternity. He wrote, "What if some day or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, 'This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more.' Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Or have you once experienced a tremendous moment when you would have answered him, 'You are a god, and never have I heard anything more divine'?" This thought experiment isn't meant to scare us. It's meant to wake us up. If you had to live this anxious moment again and again, would you run from it, Or would you find a way to make peace with it? The eternal return challenges us to live as if every moment matters, even the painful ones. It asks us, how can we act, think, and feel so that we would be willing to relive this moment forever? Now, consider Nietzsche's idea of becoming who you are. He believed that each of us has the potential to become something unique, but that this process requires struggle. One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star, he wrote. Anxiety, then, isn't just a curse. It's the chaos that can lead to transformation. It's the raw material from which we can create meaning, purpose, and even joy. Let's use an analogy. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal must be heated, hammered, and shaped under intense pressure. Without this process, the sword would never be strong. In the same way, our anxiety can be the fire that forges us into stronger, more resilient people, if we're willing to face it. Nietzsche's philosophy doesn't promise an easy life. In fact, it tells us that life will be hard, that suffering is inevitable. But it also tells us that we have the power to transform that suffering into something beautiful. By accepting, reflecting on, and growing from our anxiety, we can become who we truly are. So, why does anxiety feel so overwhelming, so soul-crushing? To answer this, we need to look at both the psychological and existential roots of anxiety. First, let's talk about the search for control. Anxiety often arises when we feel out of control, when the future is uncertain, when we can't predict what will happen next. Our minds crave certainty, but life is unpredictable. Nietzsche understood this deeply. He saw that much of our suffering comes from trying to control what cannot be controlled. He wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." When we lack a sense of purpose, the chaos of life feels unbearable. Imagine you're in a boat on a stormy sea. You can't control the waves, the wind, or the weather. The more you fight against the storm, the more exhausted you become. But if you learn to navigate with the waves, to accept that you can't control everything, you might find a way to move forward even in the midst of chaos. Second, there's the fear of suffering itself. We live in a culture that tells us to avoid pain at all costs. We're bombarded with messages about happiness, comfort, and success. When anxiety shows up, we see it as a failure, a sign that something is wrong with us. But Nietzsche challenges this idea. He believed that suffering is not only unavoidable, but necessary for growth. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering, he wrote. Think about a time when you faced a difficult challenge, maybe a breakup, a job loss, or a health scare. In the moment, the pain felt unbearable. But looking back, you might see how that experience shaped you, taught you, or even led you to something better. Anxiety feels soul-crushing because we're taught to fear it, to see it as an enemy. But what if it's actually a teacher? Third, let's talk about shame and isolation. Anxiety can make us feel alone, broken, or less than. We compare ourselves to others who seem calm, confident, and in control. We hide our struggles, afraid of being judged or misunderstood. Nietzsche himself felt this isolation. He spent much of his life alone, misunderstood by his peers, and plagued by illness. Yet he turned this isolation into a source of strength, writing, "Invisible threads are the strongest ties. Imagine anxiety as a shadow that follows you everywhere. You try to outrun it, but it only grows larger. The more you hide from it, the more powerful it becomes. But when you turn to face it, when you share your struggle with others, you realize you're not alone. Everyone has a shadow. Everyone suffers. Anxiety feels soul-crushing because it attacks our sense of control, our fear of suffering, and our need for connection. It tells us we're weak, broken, or unworthy. But Nietzsche's philosophy invites us to see anxiety differently, not as a curse, but as a call to courage, honesty, and transformation. Let's get real for a moment. Anxiety isn't just a feeling. It's a force that can shape every part of your life. It drains your energy, clouds your mind, and steals your joy. It can make even the simplest tasks feel impossible. Loss of vitality. When anxiety takes hold, it's like living with a constant weight on your shoulders. You might feel tired all the time, even if you've slept well. Your body is tense, your mind is racing, and it's hard to find pleasure in things you used to enjoy. Nietzsche called this the spirit of gravity, the heaviness that pulls us down and makes life feel dull and lifeless. Relationships and work. Anxiety doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone around you. Maybe you cancel plans with friends because you're too anxious to leave the house. Maybe you snap at your partner or withdraw from your family. At work, anxiety can make it hard to focus, meet deadlines, or speak up in meetings. Over time, this can lead to missed opportunities, strained relationships, and a sense of isolation. Let me share a story, a composite of many real experiences. Imagine someone named Alex. Alex is smart, creative, and driven. But anxiety has always been a shadow in Alex's life. It started in school, with worries about grades and fitting in. As an adult, it shows up at work-racing thoughts before presentations, sleepless nights before big projects. Alex tries to hide it, afraid of being seen as weak. One day, Alex stumbles upon Nietzsche's writings. At first, the words seem harsh. Embrace suffering, love your fate. But as Alex reads more, something shifts. Instead of fighting anxiety, Alex starts to accept it. When the familiar tightness in the chest returns, Alex whispers, "Amor fati." Instead of running from the discomfort, Alex sits with it, asking, "What can I learn from this?" Over time, Alex finds new strength, not because the anxiety disappears, but because it becomes part of the story, not the whole story. This is the real impact of anxiety. It can shrink your world, but it can also be the catalyst for growth, connection, and meaning, if you're willing to face it with honesty and courage. Now, let's get practical. How can you use Nietzsche's philosophy to ease your battle with anxiety? Here are 4 strategies, each inspired by his most powerful ideas. The first step is to stop fighting your anxiety and start accepting it. This doesn't mean giving up or resigning yourself to a life of suffering. It means recognizing that anxiety is part of your journey, a chapter in your story, not the whole book. Exercise. The next time you feel anxious, pause and say to yourself, "Amor fati." Take a deep breath and imagine embracing your anxiety like an old friend. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? How can I use this moment to grow? Nietzsche wrote, "I want to learn more and more to see as beautiful what is necessary in things. Then I shall be one of those who make things beautiful." By accepting your anxiety, you take away its power to control you. You become an active participant in your own life, not just a victim of circumstance. The eternal return is more than a thought experiment. It's a tool for living intentionally. When you're caught in an anxious spiral, ask yourself, if I had to live this moment over and over, would I act differently? What choices would I make if this moment lasted forever? Exercise. The next time you're anxious, write down your thoughts and actions. Then, imagine repeating them for eternity. Are you proud of how you're responding? If not, what small change could you make right now? Nietzsche challenges us to live as if every moment matters. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you have the power to choose how you respond, even in the midst of anxiety. Over time, these small choices add up. creating a life you'd be willing to live again and again. Nietzsche believed that each of us has a unique path, a destiny that can only be discovered through struggle. Anxiety isn't a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you're alive, that you care, that you're growing. Exercise. Make a list of times when anxiety pushed you to grow. Maybe it forced you to prepare more for a presentation, to reach out for help, or to confront a difficult truth. Celebrate these moments as evidence of your strength. Nietzsche wrote, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." This isn't just a cliché, it's a call to action. Use your anxiety as a signal, not a stop sign. Let it guide you toward self-discovery, resilience, and authenticity. Nietzsche saw suffering as raw material for creativity. He wrote, "One must give value to their existence by behaving as if one's very existence were a work of art." Your anxiety can be the fuel for something beautiful, a poem, a painting, a conversation, a new way of living. Exercise. The next time you feel anxious, channel that energy into something creative. Write about your experience, draw your feelings, or talk to a friend about what you're going through. Use your suffering as a source of connection and inspiration. Nietzsche believed that we have the power to transform our pain into strength. He called this the transvaluation of values, turning what seems negative into something positive. Your anxiety doesn't have to be a prison. It can be the spark that ignites your creativity, your compassion, your courage. Bringing it all together, let's recap these 4 strategies. 1. Practice amor fati. Accept and even love your anxiety as part of your journey. 2. Use the eternal return. Reflect on your actions and choose how you want to live, even in anxious moments. 3. Become who you are. See anxiety as a sign of growth and use it as fuel for self-discovery. 4. Transmute suffering, channel your pain into creativity, connection, and meaning. These aren't quick fixes. Nietzsche never promised an easy life. But he did promise that by facing our suffering with courage and honesty, we can find meaning even in the darkest moments. Anxiety is real. It's heavy. But it doesn't have to define you. Nietzsche's philosophy teaches us that suffering is not the end. It's the beginning of transformation. By practicing amor fati, reflecting on the eternal return, becoming who you are, and transmuting your suffering, you can ease your soul-crushing battle with anxiety. Remember, you are not alone. Your struggle is part of what makes you human. As Nietzsche wrote, "He who climbs upon the highest mountains laughs at all tragedies, real or imaginary." You have the strength to climb your own mountain, to find meaning in your pain, and to become the person you were meant to be. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to share in the comments. Which Nietzschean idea will you try in your own battle with anxiety? Let's support each other on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on philosophy, psychology, and personal growth. And if you found this helpful, share it with someone who might need a little hope today. Thank you for watching. Keep climbing. Your story isn't over yet.